Okay, it's time to be present. Welcome to another episode of the Mareathon. My name's Mare. Welcome to another episode of the Mareathon. Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I would love it if you laced up and subscribe today. I was gonna say something else. This is only my, like, I don't know, 1600th video. Forgets the catchphrase. Okay. Today we're gonna talk about goals and resolutions, and I have some mixed feelings on them for the first time this year, friends. I also have some sunlight that's like a bit of an Insta story filter, so we're just gonna have to go with that. I asked you in the Mareathon or Facebook group what you'd like to see in this video, so I'm gonna answer some of your questions. I'm gonna tell you what my goals were for this year, which ones I totally failed on, which ones I rocked, and talk about how I did things a little bit differently this year and my plans for next year as well. I got some requests to do a vision board update. I haven't done a new one, and I usually don't do it for a few weeks into the year, so stay tuned. I will do that. I'll make sure to talk about my current vision board before I take it apart and do a new one, so stay tuned. I'm excited that that's something that you wanted to see. I did my goals and my resolutions differently in 2018, and some I totally failed on and some I did not. So I'm gonna read through some of my goals for this year that I have on my phone. I always keep a note in my phone of them and tell you which ones happened and which ones did not. You know by now, if you watch my video about books that I read in 2018, I more than doubled my goal of 15 books, so that felt really good. Another goal of mine this year was to be better about using reusable grocery bags. I'd say I'm only about half, 50%. I'm not very good at it. That will roll over into 2019, as will, I'm gonna try really hard to not use single-use coffee cups. Right now I have 2 travel mugs in my car at the ready if I ever go to Starbucks. It's a work in progress. I'm sure those will always be a work in progress for me. But one of the goals that I'd written down for 2018 was to get an assistant. We now have Sarah Supergreat in the Mareathon, so that was really exciting. I wanted a consistent respite, which I totally have. 3 days a week after school. Thomas is actually getting some respite right now, even though it is December 30th today. That was a huge goal of mine, so I definitely budget for that and do without certain things so that I can afford respite. I'm just gonna fix the curtain, hold on. I wanted to launch a podcast in 2018, and that was something that did not happen. I reached a point, I don't know when it was, maybe it was the summer or maybe like midway through the year, and I was starting to really stress about it. I have the mic, I have the theme music, I have the name, I have the format, and I just couldn't get myself to do it. And finally, a good friend of mine said, why don't you just shelve it for a bit? Like, you've got too much going on. I was looking for something to take off my plate, and she was like, I think it needs to be the podcast. And I didn't want to admit it at the time, but it was really great advice. So a podcast is back on my list for 2019, so stay tuned. And thanks to everyone who has shown an interest. The podcast, I almost just said the name of it, it's up here. I would really like it to happen, so stay tuned. I was looking to double my income every single month. That did not happen this year, but my income did go up. So I am considering that to be a win. Also, I consider it to be a win because I'm able to be a single person, raising a son, owning a home and a car with a job that I created out of thin air. So I'm very like, I have financial goals, but I'm still proud of how I am financially, even though we didn't hit the goal. That makes sense? I put a blog post every week. That absolutely did not happen, but I did revamp marathoner.com, and I did put a lot of work into my website. Now there is a way for you to subscribe to it, and there's a way for you to get exclusive emails from me, and I would love it if you did. If you go to marathoner.com, there's a link down below. My plan is to send out maybe like an email a month, because I don't want it to be too spammy. Meetups in Vancouver and Edmonton, and while I'm on vacation. I didn't get to Edmonton in 2018. It's on the list for 2019 in Alberta somewhere for sure. But we did a meetup in Penticton and Vancouver and Victoria 3. So I am considering those to be huge wins, because they were absolutely highlights for me this year. I wanted to do some keynotes. Definitely didn't do as many as I would have liked. I did 2 in 2018. But it took me until August until I was like emotionally ready to. I have one booked for 2019 in Victoria in April, and that's definitely a spoiler alert. That's a goal for 2019, more keynotes. And I said, continue to up-level friendships and my social circle. I did make some new friends in 2018, and I was able to strengthen current friendships, which felt really good, and also set some boundaries in some other ones. So those all felt like wins to me for sure. Now, something else that I did in 2018 was, instead of having like a lot of specific goals, I decided to assign a word to the year, and that word for me was health. And it was mental health, social health, physical health, spiritual health, like everything. And I'd never done this before, and I found it to be incredibly powerful and helpful. And so whenever I was like making decisions or I was behaving a certain way, I was able to bring myself back and be like, does this, you know, contribute to my goal of health? And if it did, awesome. And if it didn't, then I really had to look at it and think about it and reevaluate. But I cannot emphasize enough how cool it was to have health be a word. So in making decisions like getting my Fitbit and, you know, being able to track my heart rate, my sleep became a huge thing for me this year, and I was able to fix my crappy sleep. I've had crappy sleeps for like, I couldn't even guess how many years, and now I'm sleeping better than I ever have. It tracks your steps, and I was shocked to see how garbage my steps were. You know, like it tracks all kinds of stuff. So that was super cool. Being more mindful with like social relationships and social media and how that affects my mental health. I was able to, about halfway through the year, stop seeing my therapist, who I'd been seeing for like 4 years, and just continue to use the tips and tricks that she gave me. Another thing was being able to like start spin, which has been a huge joy in my life in the last few months. Yoga, which has been a huge joy in my life. So I think it's really cool to assign a word, and not just like one specific thing, but have it mean a lot of things. And one of the questions I got from one of you was like how to have like your why and your motivation, how to have that keep you going all year long. And I found that the word health really helped me, because like my main motivation for wanting to have good health is Thomas and our future. So like I, you know, want to be in a healthy relationship, hopefully one day be in a healthy marriage. I want Thomas to have a healthy mom. I'm his only parent now, and I feel a huge sense of responsibility with that. I want Thomas to be healthy himself, and I want him to see me as like a healthy role model of someone who, you know, puts a lot of healthy food into our bodies and goes on vacation and values healthy experiences. And I'm bringing healthy people into his life, and my mental health affects Thomas's mental health. And so that to me was like such a key. The fact that I was able to keep it going all year was like a real game changer for me. So that helped me keep my motivation. So if your motivation is tough, I would definitely recommend the word as opposed to the specific goals. And if you have specific goals, really keep your why close by. Like, I did not come up with that. That's something that I heard someone say, but I really like that. Like, keep your why close by. So for me, like, this is something super personal, but in my health journey of 2018, oddly enough, being a certain weight had no bearing. So I haven't lost any weight this year. And I've definitely beat myself up a lot about that and felt a bit of like a fraud and kind of like dreaded filming this part of the year wrap up, because you would look at me and say like, she's not healthy, she's not skinny, why is she talking about her health? But to me, a number on a scale, like, I have no motivation for that. Maybe in 2019 I will, but what was more important to me was like feeling good. And, you know, when I didn't feel good, that's when I started to spin, and I got so much joy out of going to spin class and going to yoga. Like, the reason why I started doing yoga really consistently in 2018 is because my body hurt. I was sore all the time, and, you know, a lot of that is like from being tense from grieving, or picking up Thomas, or, you know, having him pull at me, or doing heavy lifting, you know, being a single homeowner, that sort of thing. So my body was sore all the time, and I was like, enough complaining, let's do yoga at night. And so I don't know, I definitely need to lose weight to be like healthy for like whatever the standards are, but I don't have a motivation for that because I'm comfortable with everything else I'm doing right now, with like eating a lot of like healthy food and exercising and meditating and doing yoga, blah, blah, blah. So that is like a little bit of an interesting aspect of this for me, which I will probably look at again in 2019. But yeah, for now, health to me isn't just a number on a scale, and it friggin' never will be. To me, health is like healthy relationships with my family. Like, I visited every single member of my family this year. Thomas and I traveled across the continent. We traveled to the island. We traveled up north. Like, that's really important to me. I have a really like close relationship with my mom this year. We saw each other a ton. We would text a ton. That was really important to me. I was able to strengthen some friendships and make new friendships. Like I mentioned, I'm at like 538 days straight of meditating on Headspace. And so anyway, the health thing was a big thing for me, and I'm thinking heart. Health and heart. Maybe another thing that keeps coming around to me is courage for 2019. And so once I've come up with the specific word, I will share it with you in a vlog for sure. So courage, heart. I had a conversation with a friend about this, and she said she's thinking hers might be self-worth. So if you are interested in sharing, I'd love to know if you want to do that together. We could check in with each other throughout the year if you want to share what your word is, or maybe in the Facebook group. Maybe that's something we do together. That worked really well for me. I do have some other like specific goals, which I can share with you. There's some things in here that I'm not ready to share because they're like exciting surprises. So sorry for that. One of my goals, I bought Marie Forleo's B School this year, this like online business school class. And I have been working my way through it so slowly and so mindfully. And that's my goal, is to finish it in 2019. I have no shame in how slowly I've worked through it because it's helped me a ton already, but I'm excited to finish it. I also bought a Jen Sincero course like probably 2 years ago, and I haven't even opened it. So that I would like to do. I'd like to continue to purge my house. I still have a lot of Jeremy stuff that I need to face and deal with. So that's like a goal, to purge the house and deal with that. Less mindless screen time, and I'm talking just like scrolling socials for no reason, and And to replace that with things like, I got the 5-second journal from Mel Robbins, just reading, journaling, writing, working, playing with Thomas. Like, I spend so much mindless time on my phone. It's a crutch. It is something that I use as a numbing agent. It is something that I use to pretend things aren't happening. I'm very well aware of it. So that's one of the goals for this year for me too. Let me know if I'm alone in that, or if that's something that you do too. Maintain contact with my family. Like I said, I'm super proud of myself that we visited every single member of my family this year, and I really want to maintain contact. I really want to focus on Thomas's development. Super vague, but 2018 was a big year for him. He aged out of his autism therapy. We started with a new company, and he has like leaps and bounds in this year, and I know that he could do even more if I focused on it myself. And I know I have some like mental blocks when it comes to it, just from like stuff that we've been through in the past with his development. So yeah, and some of it too is like, I'm so uncomfortable I can't even look at you when I talk about it. Anyone else feel like a crap parent sometimes? Yeah. Some of it is just like, I'm tired, you know. It's like the excuse of like being a single parent and the sole breadwinner and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I want to give Thomas, gets emotional. I just want to give Thomas every opportunity and every like chance to develop and live a full life. And obviously I could do better at helping him do that. So this is like a very honest video. Oh my god. I did not expect this. I've been putting off filming this video for like 3 weeks, and maybe this is why. Okay. Yeah, so that's me just like being super vulnerable and open with you. Feel free to be back and do the same with me. But you know what's interesting is like sharing my goals and my plans has always been something that feels super vulnerable. But I find putting it out into the universe and manifesting it is what works for me. And then it's so cool to see these like goals actually happen. Like the fact that I just wrote in my phone, get an assistant, and then the amazing Sarah Supergreat came into my life in the summer. Like, yeah, another goal in 2019 is to actually meet her. She's a virtual assistant right now. Anyway, so yeah, this feels real vulnerable, so please be kind in the comments. And here's to 2019. This is my last video of 2018, which is pretty crazy to say. I cannot thank you enough for your love, your support, your constant communication in the Facebook group. I read every single post on every single video, and I read every single post in the Facebook group. Your tweets, your Instagrams, the way you tag me, the fact that we got to meet in 3 different cities this year is unbelievable to me. So we'll be doing more of that in 2019. But I feel so privileged to be a marathoner. And I feel so privileged that you give your time watching my videos, you give your heart commenting and being open and honest in the group. And I vow that this is just the beginning for us. So with that, I am gonna close out, which was a crazy year for me. So many blessings and milestones. You can go back, my last video I posted was my best of 2018. I've got a blog post too with some amazing photos, but it feels like the tip of the iceberg. I could talk for an hour about how amazing this year was, and maybe I'll do a video on how I kind of took charge of that. I'm gonna put that in my phone as soon as I stop recording and make a note to do that, because this was a year of growth for me for sure. Okay, thank you for watching. Please lace up, subscribe, become a marathoner. Life's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You got me through so much this year, and we celebrated so much together too. Just one last thing I wanted to say was 2018 was, wow, I did not expect this to be so hard. Okay. 2018 was my first full calendar year without Jer. It was really hard. I've gone through like every range of emotion when it comes to him, for sure. A lot of anger this year, a lot of sadness and missing him, and a lot of like happiness and joy thinking back of like positive memories. So it's crazy that 2019 starts and then we're just getting further and further away from him being here. I get so much comfort and joy and help from filming, and so thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving up your time to watch these videos, for indulging in everything I want to talk about, and for bringing me so much comfort. See you in the new year. Bye.